What's up, everyone? Good morning. I'm not expecting too many people to come out today. It is Boxing Day, the day after Christmas yesterday. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. Well, I guess it's not even over just yet, but so far, holiday season continues. And yesterday, markets were closed naturally on Tuesday. Buy. Keep buying the dip. But we'll talk about that in just a bit today. Around 11:30 a.m. Eastern, which is, um, I guess, in 2.5 hours, I'll be doing my end of year wrap up video for the fall in anticipation for the following week and right my expectations for the year. In our free Discord, I opened up a registration link for it. Right, it's you just register on Zoom and you can join me at 11:30 today Eastern time in about 2.5 hours or so. So today, what we're going to be doing is what are we going to be doing today? No, 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 no. Uh, 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 uh. What else? Sorry, just I got a little distracted. But we'll be breaking that down. We'll take a look at the year in review, and then what we're going to break down realistically today is see if there's going to be any kind of movement. In terms of news, I don't really see too much. Volume is what's volume like? Relatively low, 105,000. Some of the main things that have occurred so far into the last few days is the Santa rally, right? It came to fruition realistically. We saw a decent little pop up from that. But we're coming into some pretty interesting blocks here that I think are worth noting based on like the weekly charts that we do go through on both the NASDAQ and the S&P. But in terms of news, I don't really see too much right now. So yeah, I guess it's not super important. I think that today's probably going to be maybe more of a quiet day. I don't know how much movement there's going to be realistically. I don't know how many people are going to participate in this market as well. I think that lower volume going into this, going into tomorrow's Friday, first of all. Like today's Thursday, Friday's probably going to be garbage. I'm not going to be trading Friday. I'll probably be in voice into the morning session, maybe into the afternoon on Discord. But other than that, like I'm not going to be touching this market. Too much, right? On Monday, we'll be around, we'll do our stream, but then you start getting into New Year's Eve, New Year's, and then blah, blah, blah. So we'll see how kind of that breaks down. But one of the main things here with the Santa Claus rally, I think that, yeah, of course, it is on pretty weak volume. We had this like nice little rip into the last few days after bottoming out both on the S&P and the NASDAQ at some pretty important levels, some might say. But one of the big factors that I'm looking at is the auction completion of the low auction volume from the prior week, which on the NASDAQ, we've yet to trade it. It's around 250, maybe, right? 240, bottom of that weekly balance top. But we're coming into some areas of interest, right? This is a immediate balance top that we're failing at right now, around 120. So we're creating this like minor balance on the week over here. I like around that 900 so far on the overnight. It's holding out well. So like that would be a reasonable region for these guys to hold out that key support structure on a wider scale to see if we can pop up to that 250, 240, clean the auction. And then from there, right, things are looking still a little fragile here for the buy side, honestly. They are still looking a bit fragile, something that we do have to take into consideration. It's not like everything's looking fantastic, but there are signs. There were signs to try these longs and see if we can get some kind of continuation. Right now, the S&P almost cleaned its auction, right? It was very close to an important level, 61, I guess like 10 to 15, if you will, before we might see some kind of disappointment in the buy side. Right now, we have around this 70, which is very important for these guys to hold, barely holding on the overnight. We crack that today. I think that there is a little more wiggle room to start seeing some downside momentum movement. We have this minor level 60-0-40 area, but like other than that, right, there's another 40-point drop. So like 70 is a very important area on the S&P. We've cleaned the auction. Right now, we're desperately trying to hold immediate balance. It's the same thing here with the NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ around 900. I'd really want it to hold to see if we can explore some upside before, if we can complete this auction before we see some kind of sell pressure. But honestly, right, I have to give up realistically. We start moving into this larger weekly balance below. You start losing 820 on NASDAQ, it gets very, very wonky from there. So if I'm looking at this on an individual scale, right, I still have some of those longs. They're not like I don't know. There's very few left, but like we'll see if they want to try to push up from here. Otherwise, I get stopped out, and I guess that's that. But um, realistically, both of these key support balance areas on Nasdaq and the S&P, I just like really want them to hold. I can move this one up a little here. Oh, come on. Around that 900 area, but like I'd really want them to hold, otherwise we start moving into areas lower. Like you take a look at the individual sessions here on this S&P in comparison to what's going on. You have a plethora of poor highs that are sitting above. We are moving through auctions pretty nicely, honestly. Like you're seeing this kind of like you have this like immediate balance over here. You don't really have much. You have this like minor area over here. You can see how much volume was accumulated here. And then you have the prior large balance that sits somewhere like this, right? Pretty thick balance. What are my settings here? These settings look off. Give me a second here. No, it's fine. Anyways, so what's going on, right? We've moved through auctions continuously higher on closes of ETHs and RTHs, so we're putting in a good shift for the buy side. Right now, this is like it's an imperative little area over here where we can try to hold this balance low to see if we can get some of that upside press. Otherwise, right, you lose this. Yeah, you have a desperation buy, but like honestly, we're pretty close to completing the auction. We're not far. This is the auction clearance area. And then at that point is a point where all the buyers need to be cautious of because the sell side pressure can easily come out of there. So I'm really going to be watching this like desperation hold around the 70 on the ES futures. And then for the long side, and then we can see, right, let's get that push higher. I'm very cautious. I'm going into today very, very neutral. I don't care if I get taken out on the rest of these longs, like big deal, honestly. Like it is what it is. I could have closed them for better profit, but you know what? Like I've been trading micros. I'm going to trade micros into the end of the year, and like 15 to 20 of them, it's fine. Like from the 23rd and 24th, doing okay. But now I have to be skeptical about this upside because we start cleaning auctions up. And overall, the pressure is a little more geared towards the downside. Seasonality is bullish, but the buy side pressure is evaporating. It's a similar thing here. You take a look at the Nasdaq futures. You have this like immense low volume area, like we're starting to clear it. We're moving above auctions continuously, which is great, right? Hold this 900 auction low. But again, right, we have to start moving above this 120, 22, 120 auction high to go and really clean this up 240, 250. So for me, right, I want to see these guys start moving above some of these areas, holding the support structure, but like mainly just starting to catch a bit off the open if there's going to be some kind of continuation on the buy side momentum. So we'll see how today shapes up. Again, like not really too much news. You have very low volume here that's shaping up. 108,000 contracts on the SPOOs here. Pretty bad, right? Like a lot of people are like, even in our stream, like there's not really that many people, which fair enough, right? It's the 26th. What do you expect? People have lives, families, and whatnot. So we'll see how these guys shape up, but I have to be concerned with both S&P under this 90 and NASDAQ under this like 020, 22, 020. It is a point of concern realistically. So let's see. I think that bullishness is fragile at this point. So that's just my perspective. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll see what we got going on today. Boxing Day Premier League games. That's what I'm looking forward to. Man City's playing right now. They've been pretty shit. Thankfully, I'm a big Man United guy. I love to hate watch Man City. Nothing better. And let's see. We got a decent bit here until the open, like over 10 minutes. So if you guys want to fill the air with some talking, let me know. I went up to the mountain here in Bulgaria yesterday for Christmas. Winter Wonderland. I haven't seen a Christmassy or snowy Christmas in such a long time, actually. I didn't know MicroStrategy was around since 2000. There was a headline that Michael Saylor had lost $6 billion in a day, but that was like a 2000 headline during that .com. Like breath and shit is still pretty weak. Like it's climbing back up, which is like that's honestly a bullish sign after being super oversold. Um, Nvidia, nice little pop as of recent. Just going through these Mag sevens. Apple all-time highs just continuous. Honestly, fantastic. Great work, Apple. Applause. Everyone was talking so much shit at the beginning of the year when Apple was the only like negative name. It was down what from the start of the year. Where is the start of the year? Somewhere here, right? By like end of April, it was down 11%. I was like, oh my god, this thing's so screwed. And then boom, catch up play. Tesla's been on a freaking tear. Strong day on Christmas Eve for a Tesla dealer. Amazon's been doing well with Google recently. I don't know what this is supposed. Oh, this was one of my expirations for my Google calls. I was like, what is this line? Which is fantastic, but big concerns with semis, honestly. Like SMH for like the trillionth time trying to trade through this yellow wall of nothingness. Like I liked it before. If we could cross like 250, 255, let's see if we can catch a bid through there. Okay, it does it. Then it starts failing at 260 right away. Now it can't really break 250. Like this is it's a pretty big concern for me with SMH that we can't see this kind of expansion here, and the market's expected to continue into all-time highs. You've got like the other indexes. You got IWM that's it's struggling realistically. It's extremely oversold, but like still, it's in a position where I think that the bear side is still trying to hold out control. So like this one, a bit tougher. Huge down days in general, and as of recent, Dow Jones as well. Dow Jones extremely oversold, the most oversold I think I've seen it internally this year. But again, right, if value can't really catch a bid, SMH can't catch a bid, it's a bit tougher to be even like medium term bullish going into 2020 five. Steve, any New Year's plans? Oh, that's a good question. I got this like villa in Bulgaria in the mountains for New Year, so I'm leaving after the morning session on Monday. So like evening time here, and I'll be back on the 2nd. That's about it. Kind of chill New Year's. I'm getting old now, so nothing crazy. My hangovers hit like crazy, and I get like super tired if I stay up past like 2. What about you guys? Any New Year's plans? Christmas is such like a Americanized consumer based holiday. Like I saw so many pictures online from like people's presents and whatnot and all this shit. And then like I noticed here, at least in Bulgaria, it's gotten more consumerism driven over the past few years. And it's like I don't know, some of like the traditional shit is just like not really around. Anyways, Friday high. What's Friday's high? What was Friday? What day was Friday again? Was it this monster move? Was it the 20th? Yeah. Yeah, that's fair, honestly. I think that's valid. We come back to Friday's highs. I think that's like kind of one of the last chance territories to continue this momentum. What's a bull game? Watch a bull game. Forgive my ignorance. That Friday high coincides with like auction areas as well. That's why I was like, yeah, sure. It's like around this like 828 area on the NAS and then around that like 60-40 area on the SPOOs, which is in my opinion like the last chance area, honestly, for these guys to hold out. Oh, college football. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't really know when those seasons are on. Not that I really watch football or American football at least. Big football guy though, like European standard. Boxing Day EPL tonight, baby. That's where the rest of my evening is gonna go after this. Oh, okay. So they're like deep into their, I guess, like playoffs at this point. Then when's the Super Bowl usually? Like February? I just never got into it. I try to stay here and there, like up to date on most things, but February 11th. My mom's birthday is February 10th. Wait, shit, how old's my mom? Oh, never mind. I thought she was turning 60 this year, but that's not true. Or I guess next year. 2 minutes. Yep. That's what's been going on so far. Just waiting for this market to open. I'll give it like some time, honestly. Like last two trading sessions I've had, honestly, not great. I took my first loss of December last time I traded, which was what, Monday? It wasn't like big or anything, but it was dumb. And I just capped it. I was like, whatever. I think I was down like maybe like after commission around like 700-800 bucks. Stupid trading. Stupid trading. I deserve to lose. Yeah. Once in a while, like no matter how long you've been trading, sometimes shit just slips up. It's important just to like mitigate it though, not turn into something drastic. My ass stays intact. Here's the market open. Bring, bring, bring. Immediate bid. See how well it holds out. I feel like at this point, like if I'm looking at this, you have like decent overnight delta building up buy side around this like 80 area on the spoos. Nasdaq like I guess like 960, but the goal here is, in my opinion at least, is to get a move above these immediate balance areas and then hold things out to the buy side above that. I'd rather it like not pull back to like 70 or like 900, if you will. One second here. I'll reload these charts. There we go. So like I was saying, I'd rather it not pull back into those low areas. Just like catch the bid and then see if this thing wants to continue on that front. Get above it, maybe a little baby pullback, and then continue the Momo. This is going to be a tighter spot here on the 0.30 and like 90 on the spoos. I don't think it's going to be the easiest thing to get over, but if it can, I think we're cooking. Some like decent buyers showing up. I think a lot of people are like trying to find the sell again on this, trying to position themselves, trying to short this most recent Xmas rally. And I don't think they're necessarily wrong. I just think it might be at higher prices. No. Just watching. This could just be like the slowest freaking day of all time. Who knows? Not generally, but like there have been some boxing days, December 26th, that have been pretty decent movers. It's just like when the volume's this low, expectations aren't very high. Like NASDAQ trading in what we can call maybe like a 40 point range or something off this open. Like what's the bottom? Bottom's around like 960, top is around like 30-ish for now, 30-ish point range. S&P like it normally does, showing more weakness. Is it like a holiday, I guess, in the States that like most people have off today? I know in Europe, like usually 26, no one does shit. The lazy Europeans. I would add into this position if we actually bid through this 90 area pretty well or above this like 0.20. I feel like it's just a little in the middle of nowhere right now. Yeah, fair. Like people, like if you have all these holidays, not just Christmas all in one week, like you're probably no one's gonna be doing shit. Yeah, these like low volatility, low volume type moves. Generally, there's some like attempted push to the upside, slow grind, volatility dropping off is just like waiting for a better moment to try to add into this. Like I'm not gonna start adding right into it resistance on the long. Yeah, honestly, just the degens are sitting here in front of the computer looking at this thing like, oh fuck. Europeans are not working today, I can tell you that much. I went around downtown Sofia this morning, full. There's a zoo out there. Well, I'm like pretty close to it anyways, but the goal for the bull side is don't come back to these lows. Otherwise, like if they have a chance, it's going to be at lower prices. I'll be doing, like I said, I'm gonna do a breakdown of my thoughts for the end of year as well as going into 2025. 11:30 today, so like after this morning session, if like anything even happens during this morning session, I think this like choppy shit right now, if you don't have positions on, probably like lean towards looking at Nasdaq a little more. I think the movement is going to be better, like 20, 30 points at a time, like nothing crazy, but we'll see. Kind of my expected breakdown of what I could potentially see happening in 2025 versus what I thought kind of 2024 looked like from last year. Like this is while this shit's not doing anything, I guess I can pull some stuff up here. Like these were my expectations, my thought process for 2024 from 2023, right? Like these ghost feeds, you can see the yellow versus the green, right? The green one was a more expected larger pullback and then stronger rally. The yellow was like smaller pullbacks, but generally continuation of the upside swing. So far, the yellow is transitioning a lot better, or is holding out a lot better, I might say, than the green naturally. I thought we get like a deeper, at least one deeper pullback this year than we got, right? And I thought that would have come around March, like I was expecting somewhat of like a 10%er. Didn't really pull back like that, but you got like super oversold signals, and we continued higher, right? It's been about, I guess, like 2 years of some kind of continued upside, and a lot of people are talking about soft landing versus hard landing coming in 2025. And I feel like the biggest surprise of all, the most unexpected, is we just start flatlining and just trade sideways throughout all of 2025. How long did it take me to get fluent in Sierra? Well, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm very fluent in Sierra. I feel like I probably know more than the average person, but like good enough for the stuff that I need. And like there's a shitload of resources online and on YouTube that I go through because like realistically, I don't know everything, right? When there are some things that I need help with, I just like Google it. But I don't know. I've been using Sierra for like years, so I can't say like when I don't know how long it took me to get comfortable with it, but like a week is a very short period of time. I think like if you're looking at it continuously for like a month or two, you'll probably have more confidence. Like whenever I need to change something that's like a little more drastic, honestly, I just like open up Google and start messing around with it at that point. S&P dragging along here. A decent seller came out at 86. Did I retire? I'm not even 30. So I'm not retired. I'd like to think my peak of trading hasn't come yet. Any resources that might help explain all functions? Oh man, all functions, honestly, like the Sierra Chart website, it just has everything. But I feel like if you go through that, you're just gonna like cry. Like there's so much stuff there. Like I think honestly, the best way is just like clicking about and just Googling things that you're looking for. Because like I think like if you have a something in mind to try to do on Sierra, just Google and start going from there and start clicking about because like learning every single aspect of Sierra, I think is just going to be a nightmare. And it's going to take a very long time. Apparently, there's an add-on called Sierra Plus Plus that simplifies it. I'm not. What is a Sierra dash pp.com? That sounds like not real. That's what I thought, Mike. Is it porn? Yeah, for those that don't know about, I guess like me, I've done like a few podcasts about it, but like long story short, I started like I was in engineering when I was in university, then I left after 2 years. I went to finance. Then I started trading while I was in university for finance. I traded mainly options to begin with. This was like 2000, like 15, 16. And then I switched to futures more because it was more active and it was Delta One. And then in terms of futures, I guess like for the first like 3, 4 years, I didn't really have too much of like a system or strategy. So I was like kind of breaking even, not really that confident until about like 2019 when I found like more of a system through some guys that actually trade like prop in the States and like work at hedge funds. We became friends and then I got a decent amount of information on like how to develop a strategy, and like a lot of them trade based on auctions, balances, profiles, and order flow. So that's kind of like the path I took, and then I've just been doing that ever since. I'm like, it's been exponentially better and better. Like I went from like making pretty insignificant sums in like 2018 or something to like actually like decent cash from like 2019 to like now. And then I started doing more options, but like from a swing based perspective. When COVID hit, like I bought a bunch of like leaps in stock into 2020 and 2021, which did extremely well. And I've just been day trading futures. I guess that's like the short story of it. But like I never hit any of those, like GMEs or like all that shit. Yeah, I think realistically, like if you're young, I think like I still think like getting a solid education is like pretty important. Having some kind of like background in whatever it is, something that's useful rather than just like diving right into like trading, in my opinion, at least. Because like people have like crazy expectations about trading. They're like, well, in the first year or two, like I'll be profitable and be like rich. Well, if you're not disciplined enough, like it's not gonna happen. These bastards are going on the offer. I'll probably get taken out of these. Like we couldn't even hit that like 90 or that 0.30, I guess, for that sell side to try to come in a little more. Bro, if I was trading for 34 years and not making money, I should have quit a long time ago. I think it's good to have like a general path and like timeline, but like realistically, it'll probably take longer than expected. And like if you're doing the right things, you know what I mean? Because like if you can't like manage your emotions, risk, and discipline, and you're just like keep like pounding away at it for like 5, 4, like 3 years, and it's like, oh, 3 to 4 years. Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, like 3 to 4 years realistically, like if you're still coming out, like it depends. It really depends because you got to know what you're doing correctly, or what you're not doing correctly, and like the work on fixing those things. Because like a lot of people just have like very, very big struggles with like the disciplinary factor of things, and like the risk management would just like kills them, and like they have to work on those things before they can actually start like getting into other things. Like because you could have a strategy, you could have like there's a lot of different strategies that have positive expectancy, but like at the end of it, it's just like how you trade it. Yeah, and what Robert just said, Tom Hugard says that trading is not a practice makes perfect activity, which is true, right? It's more of like you can, there are so many systems and like strategies out there that like do have positive expectancy and like are good. It's just more of a matter of like, are you able to trade them properly, right? It's not like, okay, I can spend 10,000 hours in front of this computer and then I'll be good. Nah, it's not really like that. You hit GME, Mike? Yeah, these fucks are going on the offer. All right, I'm out of Nasdaq. I'm gonna be out of Spoos very soon too. Didn't even want to come and entertain that top area. Eh? It's okay, I guess. I'm out of these spoos as well. Offers coming in pretty heavy right now. This is what I didn't want to happen for a continued bid. Like the potential to come down into this like 820 right now on this NAS and like even lower, like 40 on this spoos is starting to gain a lot of traction. If I'm gonna buy this, I really need to see some kind of big imbalance and like crazy buy side that tries to step in on this. Like otherwise, like people are getting pretty jammed on the NAS into this low, but like are they gonna actually hold that bid? Like right now, I'm seeing some kind of press on the sell. Yeah, Robert, that's a good point. Like I feel like prop is kind of like double-edged in a sense. These guys got like decently imbalanced. Let's see, because you got to be careful with this recent sell that came out. Like this 885 on NAS has like a pretty decent imbalance. If I can maybe try and get some lungs towards that area, smaller size here on some like micros, and see how big are these stops. We can aggregate them. If these guys start sweeping higher right now, then F me. It took me out for no reason. I was like waiting, I guess, for like more confirmation maybe than I needed to, because these guys got imbalanced pretty quickly here at these lows. Ugh. This is an idiot bit. Shit. It's good to see these areas hold. I just don't want to blindly just jump into this shit. I don't think these guys are gonna fail. Cancel these and then wait a bit. I would be a little cautious if these guys do pull it back all the way to that area, on like a failed new high. While we're wishing for stuff, yeah. Whole team wishes they got filled. What was that? Laurent, yes. I see you raise your hand. What's up? I mean, look at what this Sierra PP is. Oh, that's it. Okay, now it makes a little more sense because I remember that Frank, you had posted stuff like that, like your layout, and I was like, what? Here, I'll paste it in YouTube. Oh, you gotta be. This is a pretty strong bid. Well, right idea. I guess a little too slow on the buy. Pretty big seller just came out at 82 on the spoos. Huh. That seller can kiss my butt. I guess I'm just gonna have to wait for high prices. Big buy side coming in on spoos right now. I don't think your question got deleted unless maybe I don't know, somehow it might have. But what was it? Holden. Decent sellers trying to come in, spoos Nasdaq on this pop right now. Decent negative delta here was created on the Nasdaq as we broke under 970 right now. 970, 980. S&P showing a little more grit on the bid. It's freaking donkeys, man. Couldn't get on that bid. A couple of minutes ago, you got stopped out at 62 on the ES with pricing go that low. Well, that is a mystery. I don't know. There's a few things that come to mind. One, maybe it might have gone that low on the micros. Maybe you weren't trading the micros. Two, if you're trading on a prop account, maybe they got you. Otherwise, you're gonna have to call someone because I it did not trade that low if I'm not mistaken. I'm double checking right now. Yeah, the low is not 62. Honestly, could have filled that net. Like, whatever. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I think I placed my limits a little too conservatively. Because like, it came fairly close to that limit to fill. But here we are. all this shit just get taken out at like break even on these that were running from like 2 days ago. That's actually impeccable. No one does it like I do. Yeah, if the MES low is 62, then that's probably why you got taken out on it. I'm looking at the ES, the MES here. If I look at what the MES low is, yep, he's right. MES low, a little slippy, 62 even. A point and a quarter lower. The temptation to dunk a short into these sellers is starting to get to me, but I think it's a trap. Yeah, but Mike, I don't think any news came out, did it? On that sell? I could just be talking shit. No, I don't think so. It was a weird time. Or maybe. Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, low volume, you could have a bit of a slip in difference between the micros and the minis, which is like, I guess, one of the shit parts when you're watching the minis and then trading the micros. I don't know. I'm trading the micros. So. My plan from this morning was to get long or see the long side try to continue. And I was looking at like this like 70 region on the SPOOs as like a desperation last area to hold. Just couldn't get on it. And like this 900 on the NASDAQ, the same thing. I dubbed them desperation levels because I'd rather not see prices back into there after holding it on the overnight, rather see them at higher prices to continue the momentum. Like S&P here printing high of day around, I'd guess 87. I could be wrong, but yeah, 87. Which is fair, right? We hold that desperation level, but it becomes more of a criteria of now actually seeing this expansion higher. Nasdaq weaker, no new highs on the session on Nasdaq for me to get along, because like at this point, I don't really want to be buying this pullback again into the same area. If anything, like it looks like a sell to me, because like there's a decent amount of sell pressure coming in on Nasdaq, especially around that 970 massive prior negative delta hold. A lot of sell pressure coming through there. S&P, right? A bunch of people looking like they're getting stuck around 85. It's just a little, I don't know. It's a little more difficult for me to just like jump on this sell right now, but I think that there's a decent little uh potential for a pull down again where like this is the case. Like if we sell from here and we pull down to the same areas, I just don't think they're going to hold again. Honestly, I think that that sell side pressure tries to come out a little more extensively if we start coming back into session lows. And at least said mag 7 pretty butt right now. Let's take a look at this. Let's start with meta. Yeah, kind of weak Apple all-time highs to pulling down on the intraday session. Amazon weaker. Some weakness around these tech names. Like, look, Nasdaq looks like shit. They're pulling off of these highs right now. I feel like I'm doing more analysis than actually trading right now, which is, I guess, okay, but I would have missed a few trades here. Concentrate a little more instead of yapping. A lot of sell side pressure is trying to come in here. S&P, like big ass sellers are trying to hit this thing, especially around this like low 80. I'm honestly gonna see if I can put some limits out. I don't like where those stops are. Yeah, this is like freaking spraying around a few key areas, but like if my average, let's say, and put my stop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if I can try to sell these. Sprayed a bunch of these cells. Let's see. The seller seems to be in control right now. It's like a late fill. I might have been able to get a better fill at those top rotations, but yeah, like a pretty big naked seller at like 84 on the spoos. I try to fill a little lower for a few of these. I have to pull these stops down too. Oh, weird ass fight is going on at this 80 here on this spoo. Like with this, I'd want to see them go and crack that 70, honestly, on the sell. Torturous rotations. Little offer, trying to get picked up on some buyers here. What happened to that sell that came in before? It was very quick, and now the second I start getting into it, what's Nvidia trading at? That's a good point, Al. Looks like but I don't know. I think the SPOOs are a little more trouble here. A little refusal of continued offers, though. Offer comes in, rebids just a holding a shitty little chop. Yeah, the membership includes a course as well. We do have a discounted offer right now for the end of the year. I gotta find that though. Failed little offer. We get down just under that, or just around that 76. These guys try to hold the bid. Game of patience. Nasdaq. Oh, wow. Back to that 980 on the Nas. Trouble spot mid 80s here on the SPOOs. A lot of sell pressure trying to come in, came in earlier. If they give this up, oh, we back on the bid, baby. Like large sellers are still trying to come in on this boost. They're not trying to give this up right now. But at the same time, like they come in and then there's not really too much of a continuation of people trying to sell at lower prices. So it's a bit concerning. Do, do, do. I filled everything on this. Not really seeing that offer that was originally coming in though. Nasdaq woke up here. The S&P is near slash close a decent area where like I wouldn't be surprised to see them fail, just like Nasdaq has a little more upside. Dun, 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 dun. Clustering of like a shitload of negative delta here of like big sellers leaving their mark on the S&P. Like I would have wanted them on the sell side to defend a little better than they did on this like most recent pop. So it's a bit tougher spot right now. The slow bit of Santa continues. Buyers are holding this out pretty decent, honestly. On these like reoffers, like decent buyers are coming in. The seller has to just like get them stuck, otherwise, like we shall continue higher. Yeah, a lot of these sellers are just getting rebid right now. This isn't really fantastic for the short. It looked okay before, but it's just starting to look worse and worse. It's starting to build out like a lot of, I guess, like a larger barrier to actually break through to the downside for this thing to have any life. Like if I were looking at this like right now, no position, I need to see like a pretty big offer to convince me to jump in on this. I also have a pretty big stop on this. I'm watching these like 85s on this Dom. Like you have like a 300 seller that tries to keep popping up, and then like a 200 buyer that's just like holding it out. So you got to flush those buyers. Seller looks like they're getting slapped around a touch here. This Nasdaq just continuously bid. I wouldn't have had this problem if I got filled on that long. Let the hopium flow. Like I couldn't even fill one, let alone full size. MSA, VSA, everything failed me. Now I've been in this trade for what seems like 30 years. There's a lot of like positive delta and buy side that's coming in on the spoos that's like failing, but it's just like I need to see that big offer to have a little more confidence in this. Yeah, pretty wide stop on this. My idea is like to see if this can turn into a larger move here, but Washroom. Once I come back, if I get stopped out, it's everyone else's fault. All right. Well, interesting little surprise. Not really. Like I was hunting those guys. I didn't really know where I can get a quality fill. And like maybe I should have been a little more patient to try to sell that 85. But the issue is that like we're coming into a lot of negative delta here that we're above on like a slow bid, and like most bids are or most offers are getting like swept back up. So they just go away. The second I come back, the bid just shows up. You gotta really lose that 80. Like Nas got stuck at like 975 on the short shit. Nice bids, man. The offer has to take the 80 where like all that sell pressure came through. Like you gotta stop absorbing all this sell pressure. Like ultimately my fill could have been like 85, you know? Like that would have been better, but here we are. Gotta deal with it. And that's getting too many assholes stuck on this short. Like, I feel like I'm fighting on this because like a lot of these offers just like easily get swept back up. My main concern is my entry's bad. Back to the same spot where the bars got stuck before, but like, oh, where's the seller? S&P from the weaker market now showing a little more resilience. Screw me, I guess. Nasdaq muddled into these like low rotations. What is going on? If this thing ahead fakes me and then drops, it's gonna be super annoying. He is showing up with a lot of buying here. I'm getting stuff done. Most of the spoos. I still like the idea of it, but like, god damn. This slow continued bid. So silly. I'm gonna add into this my original size plus one, and then I have like a slightly smaller stop. I don't mind this risk here, but it's pretty counter trend. My entry to begin with, like I was playing it off of those like massive deltas, but it just like didn't follow through. It went up like 5 point or like 4 points in my direction, and it came back. And then I just think it's going to be a little more difficult to break through this 90 here on this spoos. But if that happens at that point, I can't keep shorting this, you know? The entry was bad on that first one. I'll give it that. Big barrier at the 80. This is big, big problem. These buyers, man. Every offer that comes in, they're pretty easily swept out. Yeah, it just starts flying higher above that 90 on the spoos, and like the Nasdaq accepts above that 0.30. Honestly, I'm just gonna start getting long, like cut my losses, whatever. This buy side is just like every offer that comes in, like fair, honestly. I missed out on that low. And that offer that came in, I guess, not really very powerful here. Yeah, a lot of buying on this. I'm gonna do this pull here. I just not like salty, but it's a little annoying missing that low after trying to put those limits in the wrong side of this thing. In these like slow, stupid holiday markets, I haven't been doing very good. Like every big seller is just like getting absorbed. Like honestly, I feel like I can just buy this almost at market and just leave it for the rest of the day. Like a big seller, 250 seller comes in, just gets absorbed into this high right now. I'm at the point like if this sell side actually opens up, I'd honestly be pretty surprised. Because like we got a nuke 80. Like you got like a 10-point move for the sell side to open up here, in my opinion, on the spoos. It's just my entries weren't that great. Like I don't think they were terrible trades. I just think that like trying to get in into a slow market with just like kind of aggressive entries is not the way to go. Like immediate bid on that offer has been continuous. Sell button is canceled until 2025. I'm like ticks away from getting taken out on this, and I am half out. Probably get taken out. Like this bicep's probably just going to continue. I think like idea was mediocre, but entries were pretty bad. So it is what it is. I guess I just like missed that long from those lows and then now. But like, listen, realistically, if you like pop above these two areas, like that's what's a little more confirmation within this balance. You're within a balance, right? So not ideal, right? Giving back some profits here, but I think like there is some weakness in Nasdaq. It's just that at this point, like you really, really, really need to see like a definitive, like massive seller that like crushes a lot of these guys and actually holds on like a few rotations that like sell side continues to come in. Like at this point, like these guys are just like holding bid continuously, like every offer just like gets rebid, every offer just like getting bid back up. Like it's not anything. Like there's no real sell side that's coming in. So I'll leave it off at that, right? Like honestly, at this point, I'm just like considering, okay, can I just like get along this and then leave it for the rest of the day? It would help if we just like rebid these areas aggressively here. And like I'm like one tick away from getting stopped. I'm surprised I'm not stopped yet on the rest of this. So we'll go from there. Thanks for joining the stream. It wasn't that great, I guess. Like hopefully it was pretty helpful, but the trades, not really too satisfied with that. But let's see in the afternoon, like again, lower volume, decent potential. This thing just like continues climbing higher here. Missing that low is a little frustrating, but we'll go from there. So thanks everyone that watched the stream. Hope you have a great rest of the day here. And we'll most likely be back in the new year. I'm not gonna trade tomorrow. Maybe. I doubt it, right? It's Friday. Like after today's kind of slower garbage and like constant bid, like I don't really have too much of a want to continuously trade this. So we'll go from there about 50% on the live poll today, which was okay, I guess, but missing the bid was the biggest issue here. So we'll see what we get in Discord into the afternoon, but probably going to take it much, much slower. I had to get taken out on the remainder of these longs before this thing swept higher and couldn't get back in. So this upside, lower volume, lower volatility, more upside is expected here unless like some big ass offer comes in, and just like I haven't seen anything like that. So thanks guys. Let's watch into the afternoon and I'll see you guys in Discord.